Have you played Brotato?
This is also the first I've heard of it, so please
No.
tell me more. What is that?
So Brotato's not on Xbox.
Okay.
I'll say yet, but I don't have any. Well, it would be great to get on Xbox. It's a Steam game. It's kind of like, let's say it's inspired by Vampire Survivors.
Oh, I see.
But you play as a
You have a
potato.
type.
Yes, yeah, I'm very simple.
Yeah.
I have a small brain. So one stick, move around. But it's a fun game. So I'm playing some Brotato. I just finished, what did I just finish last? Bramble? Have you played this game?
No, I've had it recommended a bunch though. Yeah, it's a nice short playthrough, isn't it? As well?
But it's kind of a demented game. Like
A
it starts off
game.
demented, yeah. It starts off very cute, and you think, oh, like this is awesome, and then it like goes into some very crazy. Great game,
zags.
great game, but it's like some very dark. Let's just say dark places.
Okay. I'll get it on the download queue. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's
wonderful. So we're going to focus on Gamescom now. We're going to stop flapping our gums and actually talk. We're in Gamescom, quite literally surrounded by Xbox fans.
50,000 square feet of Xbox booth.
It's pretty good. And
Biggest ever.
This is the first time in a while you've stepped on it as well. So I want to know why it's so important that Xbox has showed up so big this year.
Well, being here, being anywhere, but being in Europe with our customers, with players, with the creators that are here. I did a creator get together both last night, today, met with some partners. It's, it's these moments where the industry comes together, where we can talk to each other, that the consumers can come in, the players can come in, put their hands on games. I just think it's critically important. Obviously, COVID messed up a bunch of things. That's in the rearview mirror. So we had the opportunity this year to go big at Gamescom. We said, let's go. The other thing that's awesome in the booth is how much third-party support that's here, right? Like Ed Boon's games here, Mortal Kombat's here. We have the DLC for Cyberpunk's here. Like it's just awesome to see how many of our partners, Rod's games here, Diablo, how many of the third-party support on the floor. It's an important thing for us as a platform. And it's just nice to get reconnected back with the community here.
Yeah. And then Starfield over. I feel like I'm showing everyone over
I can't
here.
see it. I can't see it. It's too small.
Well, it is actually technically massive, to correct you there. And we're only a week away from early access. So how exciting is it seeing this game coming to Xbox? And we're so close now.
Yeah, we've been working on it for a long time. I've known about it for even before we acquired ZeniMax. So it's been great to see Todd and the team work more closely with them than we ever have on any game. There aren't that many moments where we get to launch a new IP that has the amount of buzz and anticipation that Starfield does. A lot of games you'll launch that are new IP and then maybe they build into their strength, but like there is just a crazy amount of anticipation. And the thing that I love is the confidence that the team has right now, like putting out review codes 2 weeks before launch, because it's a big game. And I'll be the first to admit, the first 3 to 4 hours are a little bit hunt and peck, figure out like, well, what am I actually doing? Then you get on a side quest or something, and like the game just like blows up in terms of its epic scale. So I love the fact that the team is so confident in giving reviewers time with the game before they're actually reviewing or just talking about what they think of the game.
Yeah, and just behind that, in the rearview mirror, if you will, kind of, I think that's how it works. Forza Motorsports over there, and that's out not too long after Starfield, isn't it?
That's right. That's October. We did a take home 2 weeks ago where we got the kind of the opening of the game. Looks fantastic. I'm a huge motorsport fan.
Yeah.
And I'd say Turn 10 for us for a long time in our first party has really been a technical showcase. Like Chris Tector, the team on the tech side, the stuff that they get the most out of the hardware, I think, of any of our first party teams. They just like, that's their focus, along with building a great racing simulator. And the game looks fantastic. And I can't wait for people to get to play. The ray tracing on track looks great. Giving people some options. You'll see all that as they kind of talk about more of the game. But Motorsport is tried like something that one of those franchises I've played since the beginning, and I can't wait for the full release.
Yeah, it's Motorsport is chef's kiss.
Well, like kudos to Turn 10. They started with Motorsport, expanded to Horizon, so now they built like a sibling franchise to Motorsport. They've just done such a really good job of growing the relevance of Forza, both for simulation and arcade players. Great job.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Phil, I know one of the things in chat and many of the fans really appreciate about you is how much you love to play the games themselves. So, I know just over here with Konsu behind me, we've got the Stalker 2 demo, and you've taken that for a spin as well. It's been 16 years since the original, so can you tell us what stood out to you?
Yeah, Stalker, if you played the first game, has kind of a unique setting and story, and it's really nice to see what they've done in this build of continuing the lore of what Stalker is about, what your role is in the world, and kind of how the world invites you into what your role is and your kind of task. I'm trying to do this without kind of spoiling too much.
You can spoil if you want.
No, that's their game. Like I don't want to do that. But I'll also say, they're a dev that spends a lot of time perfecting the game in terms of the technology. I think they're still on that track. Yeah. Like they're still, obviously the game's not done. So it's, but yeah, I just love that they've done a good job moving the Stalker kind of world forward, but being very tried and true to what Stalker's about. Yeah, for sure. And to be totally honest, even under the best circumstances in games development, it's super tough. But for GSC, obviously, it's a bit more complex, the situation they've got there. So I want to know, what does it mean to you to see these guys get here and get a demo out of the door? Yeah, I've stayed in touch with the team over the years, and especially as you say, like the last couple of years, it's an emotional thing, right? Like you almost feel hollow asking them about how their game is. Yeah, of course. When you think about the world and what that they live in, and what that studio has gone through and really continues to go through. I think for them, I see, and they've talked about this when I've talked to them, that building the game has kind of been a refuge in a way. And it's cool to see that. I hope it never gets replicated again in terms of something that has to happen. But I'll say for the team, the fact that they're here, I was playing, they were literally pushing a new build right as I was playing that build. So their attention to wanting to put their best foot forward, even under the most difficult circumstances, I have a ton of confidence in them. Yeah. And they're on that journey. But it's it's an emotional thing when you're talking to a team that's going through. I don't want to talk about it in past tense, what that team is going through. So it's really special to me that they're here and that gaming can be part of how they're getting through it. Yeah, for sure. And as well as being here, there are so many communities for so many different games. Yeah. The RX was, you've got Sea Thieves. I'm doing it again. Sea Thieves over there. You've got an ESO over there. I can't see it, No, I know. I'm just There's actually nothing over there. I'm telling you where they all are. It's empty, there's nothing here. And you're just a green screen. It's an illusion. The grounded communities over there. It's actually not. But what's it like for you to see all of these communities come together? Community and gaming to me are linked. It's 100%. From my early days of literally going to the arcade. I'm the old guy, but that's the only way I could play that and Pong in my house. That's how I play video games. And there was a community in the arcade of hey, what's the new hot console? Not video game console, but actually arcade console cabinet that you're going to go play. And I love that today those communities, they're still physical. Like you asked, why are we here at Gamescom? Because we have a fan fest tonight. Indeed, it's going to be awesome with the local community and the people that are here, but also the virtual communities. And I think it's one of the unique things in video games, that video games can connect people across geographies, across races, religions. It is just a connector of people. And when it's a game like a Sea of Thieves, like a Grounded, like a Flight Sim, so many of our games now have these Elder Scrolls Online, which has a big, over there, has a big presence on our show floor. And they've got a really nice table in there as well. They do that big round table. A really nice table. It's another one of the things on my list to see if I can pilfer. I won't lie to you. We should steal that. Yeah, we should. But the thing, I also want to make sure on the community side, it's not just about multiplayer games. You find, think about Skyrim. Yeah. Skyrim has an amazing community around it. And it's not because there's a bunch of PvP or PvE, right? It's people come together for their shared love of the world and the characters and the lore and their role in that. I just think that's a very special part of gaming, and it's a privilege, I guess, for us at Xbox to have some franchises that are a part of that. Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing here is, I think it fully opens to the public tomorrow and all. It's the sweatshop tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's going to really pop off then. In here, it's going to be warm. You got the good day to come and sit here. I'm here tomorrow. I'm here. But do people know? Today is the press day, right? Yes, is that what they call it? I don't know if that has an official name. I should know, but I don't know. And then tomorrow, the the consumers, the players come in. Have you ever seen like when they open the
running?
It's ridiculous.
And then eventually at some point, I'm going to stop pointing, but the escalators, and they get so busy.
Yeah.
Every time I come to Gamescom with someone new, I tell them you have to see the running when it opens and the escalators when it's full. It's great.
It is, it's awesome to be back. And I think they feel like this might be one of the biggest Gamescom ever.
It feels it already, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's kudos to the team here who's kept this going. They went virtual for a while, but now we're here back, and there's so many fans and players here. It's like just such a special time.
And it's special for Xbox as well, as we've mentioned a few times on the show already, that it's the 10th anniversary of ID at Xbox.
I have my ID at Xbox.
There it is. He's sporting it. He knew what he was doing. I'd love for you to reflect on any memories or moments you have from the introduction of ID and how it's gone over the past 10 years.
I'm going to start with a couple things.
Yeah.
One, we always have discussions internally when new things are going to happen on the console. And there's always some different kind of feelings about the impact. When free-to-play came to console, it'll be the end of the console if free-to-play comes to console. Some people think it is. But, like, clearly the console's still there and free-to-play happened. ID at Xbox. Well, when we have unmanaged partners that are building games on Xbox, what does that mean for a console? Because we started with this silly thing where publishers had 2 slots of arcade games that they could go do. It was like a silly policy in Xbox. Opening it up and allowing anybody who submits and actually has good intent to build a game on the platform has led to some of the best games that have been. People forget like that Fortnite actually came through ID at Xbox. When you ask about like some of the special moments, I have to go to games from places where we'd never seen games for Xbox. I remember going to the Brazil game show and meeting the devs behind Aritana. I'm probably missing the pronunciation. But it's this, I think it was the first Brazilian developed Xbox game. And it came through ID at Xbox, and this team of guys, we were in Sao Paulo, and they came together, and I met them at the show, and it was so cool just to think, it used to be there were like 3 places on the planet where games were built. And now you have games coming from all over the place, and people tell their stories through their lived experience and their world.
It's totally different stories, as you say, around the world.
Now, whether it's explicit in like, I'm going to do a game about Brazil, or I'm going to do a game about something else, but through the lens of what I see in the world. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, whether it was like Candleman, which I think was the first Chinese developed ID at Xbox game. Like, I always love when we're finding new ID at Xbox games from new places and new partners. And I just think that's like, if we're going to find new players, we're going to have more creative, and the mix of those two things, ID has been fundamental. And 10 years ago, announced at Gamescom.
10 years.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
That's how old I am. Feels like yesterday. Or I don't remember it. I don't remember.
I thought you were saying you were 10 years old then.
No.
It's a great job for a 10-year-old that you've got.
No, but it's like that it was 10 years ago. And I remember the trepidation. What's going to happen when unmanaged developers can build console games? You know what happened? Some amazing things happen.
It did. So another thing that you talk about a lot as well is when you can play games whenever, however, and wherever you want. And I know that's something you really want to give to fans however possible. So I want to know what that commitment looks like, both at Gamescom and maybe the months ahead, what that story is going to be.
The critical thing we look at Teams Xbox in terms of our success is how many players.
Yeah.
How many players do we have? And even more and more, how much are people playing? Like, do we have a platform that has games for kind of all hours of the day? Sometimes you're playing with your family, and what can I do? Sometimes it's just me time, and I want to go do things. And how many players show up? We look at our monthly active players, our daily active players. And when I say on Xbox there, whether you're playing on the cloud and you're streaming to a device that we don't know anything about, whether you're playing on a PC, and as Microsoft, we know something about the PC, or you're playing on one of our consoles. Like, those are all Xbox players. Or, like, flying over here, I'm playing on my ROG Ally on the airplane, and I think about that as my Xbox away from home, or my Steam Deck. Like, I want those things to feel as connected and as complete as an Xbox experience as any piece of hardware that we build. We will continue to focus on hardware. It's an important part of our team and what we can go do. But I don't want our hardware to be a limitation on who can actually feel like they're part of the Xbox community. If you buy hardware from us, we're going to do an awesome job supporting you. We want to make sure great games are there. If you have the device that you want to bring and be part of Xbox, we also want that to be 100% great on Xbox. And it's, as you said, it's putting the player's decision on where they want to play at the center of it.
It's just there for them, whichever one they want to grab at that time.
And not only is it there, my save game moves with me. My community is there, so
Yep.
I can make progress on any platform I want to play on, and I can grind my characters. I can make my way through the story anywhere I've been. It's one of the best things about Starfield, pointing at it.
That's over there.
Yeah, I've been moving. I play on work, on my PC. When I go home, I sit on my console and I go play. And it's just a continuous experience for me. And everything moves. It's fantastic.
Amazing. So I also want to know, while we are here, is there anything you're particularly excited about trying, either on the booth, off the booth? What have you got your eyes on?
Well, Stalker 2 was one, so it was great
Yep.
to get to sit and talk to the team yesterday and just connect.
Yeah.
Right, and see how they're doing. I have this funny thing with Ed Boon, where Ed and I have known each other for a long time, head of the team behind Mortal Kombat, but we tend to cross ourselves on stage all the time. It happened last night at OLN.
Congratulations last night, by the way. Smashed
But
it.
accepting an award that
Yeah.
team did on like an Xbox.
Yeah, but
I
you
didn't do it.
accepted it so well, Phil. Well done.
Thanks. I'm very good at coming out with a trophy and a microphone and accepting an award for work that other people did. And that team did awesome work. But I want to get over with Mortal Kombat. We had the same thing at, I still call it E3, though no one else does, but that June event,
Yep.
our showcase, but also I think he was in Keeley's, the Play Days thing, which was great. But we tend to fly by. So I saw him on stage because he was on, I think, right after me as I was coming off stage, which is how we normally spend time together. But really great third parties here, and I know I'm supposed to pick some obscure indie game, but I want to sit down with Ed and get my hands on Mortal Kombat, so I'm hoping I get to do that.
I'm going to recommend to you, if you haven't yet, go play Little Kitty Big City. That's the
I have
one.
not.
That's the one.
I'm
I've
not
got
really a
my
cat
eyes on.
person, though.
Phil,
No.
you have
Are
to
we gonna
spoil
fight?
it, don't you? So I have to thank you now for the interview, and you've just gone and said you're not a cat person.
I'm a dog person. My
Right.
dog's name is Oogie.
Oogie?
Oogie, Oogie.
Oh, okay.
He's a rescue.
Maybe I'll let you off
He is
there.
the most awesomest dog ever.
Fine.
But yeah. And so big kitty, big city. What would say?
Well, imagine if it was Big Kitty, Little C. Now
That-
that's a game.
Yeah.
Someone make that one. Well, Phil, we got to wrap there. You're absolutely fantastic as always. Thank you for joining us.
You are.
No, you are. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Thank you.
Don't steal too much stuff, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. But now it's over to Benny and Maxi to close out the end of the show.
That is day one of our Xbox Gamescom coverage in the books, but don't worry, we're just getting started.
That's right, over the next 2 days, we've got more from the new Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, Phantom Liberty. We'll scare ourselves silly with Alan Wake 2, and we get hyped with a tour of this massive Xbox booth.
And then day three, we sail the high seas with Sea of Thieves. We're gonna party with party animals and check out City Skylines 2 from high above Cologne, this city. All that and so much more, so join us right back here tomorrow and Friday. Until then, happy gaming. See you then. Macht's gut. Ciao.
Bye!